Gentlemen, welcome to the MarkinsPires show. Day 1977 in a row where we officially found out today that we are the enemy.
I don't really care, man. You do you, I'll do me. We could be better. Passion speaks louder than words. Keep it on the sidelines. Yeah, don't let the people see the signs, no. Let them stay in the dark as long as possible. And no matter how hard you try, you are locked in. Yeah, when you're the enemy, they keep you from the world, yeah, they'll shut you down. When you're the enemy, you could be on the right side of the road.
Blast this out, fam and friends, it's about to get hot.
Are you the enemy? You could be on the right side of it all and be the enemy. Under the stranglehold of the man, you can run as fast as you can, yeah. But they're always gaining on you. You can't get away, what you gonna do? You start to scream louder and louder, but everyone looks away. You start to scream and they start to grin from ear to ear. Yeah, it's clear we are the enemy. We are the enemy in our own state. It's never been clearer to me. You can run as fast as you can. The cameras over there, cameras everywhere, yeah. They see your every move. Taken away in handcuffs, yeah. Got my mind blocked, yeah. Can't talk, no. Got me on shadow ban, yeah. Won't see me even if you want to. Find me if you can. I'm here, yeah. But we're always being held down. They keep you from the world, yeah. They'll shut you down. You're the enemy. The enemy. You could be on the right side of it all. You and me. If you can think, if you breathe, if you have a thought in your mind, you're an enemy. If you're not down to divide, then you are an enemy. We're the enemies. On the right side of time, be the enemy. Sometimes you got to stand up and be your own soul, yeah. You gotta call out a wrong, gotta make it right. And if you don't join the fight, you stand by all while it all gets burned down. We're the enemy. They treat us like the enemy. They won't tell you what's going down, no. The enemies, it's propaganda left and right. It's all you ever see. You can't find the truth, no, 'cause you're the enemy. They keep you from the world, yeah, they'll shut you down. You're the enemy. You're the enemy. Taken away in handcuffs, yeah, got my mind blocked, yeah, can't talk, no, got me on shadow band, yeah, won't see me even if you want, you find me if you can, I'm here, yeah, but we're always being held down, oh yeah, when you're the enemy. On the right side of it all, you're the enemy. The enemy. Another new song.
Welcome, my friends. Officially day 1977 in a row, and we're here. Donald Trump found guilty today. What does that mean? What exactly happens from here? Apparently he's going to be tried on the 11th, I want to say, of July. I'm not sure what the outcome is going to be. What exactly happens here is jail time for some weird thing about a hush money payment. I think it's quite interesting that we also have a case going for the suppression of the Hunter B story right before the last November where we had the issue. But they have a concern about Stormy Daniels' suppression. That, big deal. We got to get into that one and try and find guilty a former president of the United States. What does this mean for a republic? It's not a democracy, people. No matter how many times they say it on all these different platforms. He's after our democracy. You're going to change democracy. We're not a freaking democracy. We are a republic, a constitutional republic, completely different than a democracy. Democracies are not good. Democracies lead to socialism, leads to communism, leads to the destruction of society. We are a constitutional republic, and these people have been trying to change that for so long, they just keep calling it a democracy. And everybody buys into it. We're not. Well, today, another strike on the republic, right? But what do you expect out of insanely, not just liberal, but I'd say whack out of their minds New York, right? Squatting, you can go and steal a property after like 30 days. This state is so messed up. That state's 35 minutes from me. I'm in Connecticut. I could be in New York in 35 minutes. You think I want to go to that shithole? You know? No, thank you. I haven't been to New York City in like 4 or 5 years. I have no interest in going into that cesspool, maybe getting robbed or stabbed. You know what I mean? These people will stab you and rob you after here, take my freaking wallet. They'll stab you anyway. You know, don't speak English, no bail. They just let them right back on the street. They give them a debit card too. They're like, here you go, take the debit card. But guys, more important things. Got to go after a former president of the United States, because you know what's happening in November. There's a big day coming up in November. And today we had another strike of what we would call interference. Oh, goodness. I mean, who out there is saying to themselves, this seems normal? And if you think about it, this is strike 2. So the first one was $450 million, a ruling and a judgment against all of his properties in New York. And so now that's one step. Step 2 is he's guilty of this 34 counts of all this insane stuff. You know, and it's just like, you have to laugh. And I've seen a lot of people comment on my piece of content about it saying, yeah, each of them made $1 million by saying that. And I'm not, look, these people are they are literally holding on to the last straws of power, trying to figure out what else can we do in order to keep power for 4 more years. It's looking so bad for them. The guy sitting at the Oval can't speak, he can't walk, he shuffles everywhere. He needs a teleprompter the size of the wall and still can't read it. And everybody's like, 4 more years. So look, Zabrowski, thank you for that woo-hoo. All I'm saying is this, I don't believe we have the best choices in the world on either side, because half the country hates Trump, no matter how good the economy was during his time in office. They spent 4 years trying to rip him down. Who's they? The swamp. When you come down the elevator and you say, I'm gonna trade the swamp, are you kidding me? I'm winning big league. And you got that tie that comes down and bangs against your dong, you're gonna have people coming after you. You got a swamp coming after you. And that's exactly what's happened since the day he came down the escalator, and he sat down in front of the world. He said, I'm running for president, I'm gonna drain the swamp. When he said he was gonna drain the swamp, guys, that was it. The swamp said, okay, buddy, we'll see about that. And every single day, every hour, every minute on the hour since that moment has been the destruction of a man who everybody loved before that. Nobody wants to remember how much everybody loved Donald Trump before. All these people who hate him now, he was their biggest donors. All these people who say he's racist, he was the only guy loaning money in the late 90s in New York City so these people could start their businesses and thrive. I love this one story. A gentleman goes to see Trump when he's younger and says, I want to start a business. Trump gives him 10 million bucks. He goes out there and he starts his business. He goes and he pays his loan back in a period of time. At the end, he gives his lump sum payment back to Trump. And Trump says, is this everything? How's the business going? He says, it's great. Thank you so much for believing in me. And Trump said, here you go. Gives him his check back. He goes, now go out there and kill it. And that's a great story. It just goes, some people have vision. And that's why I liked this guy from the beginning, is because he obviously, look, you don't win and you've got a life like I'm a billionaire and I own all these properties and I can go right back to that and just get away as far away from this as possible. But no, I'm coming back for more. Come on, swamp, what do you got next? He literally came right back. And you have to say, well, why would somebody do that? Because they're a tyrant and they want to get back in and then not relieve power? I love how they say he's not going to leave office. Like De Niro, freaking De Niro. He's sitting there saying he's not going to leave office. Guys, you know he's not going to leave office. You know it. What are we doing? He left office the first time. Yeah, he didn't want to because there was a lot of discrepancies. But 4 years later, he's not there. No, you got a sleep sofa in there who poops in a triple diaper all day long. And the shit that's probably filled up in that Oval, right? There's a documentary on that alone, I'm sure. But the point is pretty simple. When you tell the swamp you're coming for him, This is what you see. This is exactly what happens. You are Donald Trump. And he should never have said that. They always say you never want to tell your enemy you're coming for him. And that was his first and biggest mistake ever, is he told the evil of this world he was coming for them and he was going to drain them. And since then, that evil has done nothing but drained him. And they're at the point now where, $450 million, his businesses are crap. He's the only president who's ever left office and had less money than he did when he came in. Barack Obama had a couple $100,000 in the bank when he got to the presidency. He bought a $14 million house in Martha's Vineyard after he was president. It's like Joe Biden owns 7 houses, but he's a government employee, 50, 90,000 a year, whatever it is, 9 houses, son crackhead, you know what I mean? Look, this show's not political at all, but today Donald Trump was found guilty, and so it is the news of the day. And so I'm gonna bring the Trump impression back. I'll bring the Biden impression back. I'm doing it all. Dr. Evil, look, we're taking over Donald Trump, it's official, he's guilty. Huh, what, my Aunt Judy told me we can do it. And then he pooped in his triple diaper. Guys, I'm not saying that you're living in the Twilight Zone, but you're living in the Twilight Zone, And if you go to X, it's hilarious. All these people are like, I can't wait to vote for Joe Biden again this time. I'm like, who the fuck are these shills? This whole grand scheme to buy votes by, canceling student loans. Can I just ask you guys one question? Nobody has a problem with them not fixing the system. So your children, your grandchildren, my grandchildren don't get hit by the same predatory system that they're relieving right now. They're like, oh, all of you people who got your educations, you're out there making a living right now. Let's wipe away all your debt. So you don't want to spend that money on a legal fight against all these big banks in order to get them to fix the predatory practice. No, they don't give a shit about that. They care that this year is another November that you have to remember, because all the lies they're telling you that they won't stand up and actually follow through to complete. You see, the one thing I can say, I think I've been alive for 5 or 6 presidents now. There's only been one president that I've been in this seat or alive in these clothes that said something and then went and actually freaking did it. And everybody hated him for it. But everything he said he was going to do, he did. And the things he wanted to do, he didn't get done because you didn't give him his second chance, the second 4. You can't do it all in 4, especially when every day for your 4 years you're getting slammed in the face by the fake news, National Enquirer, mainstream media. It's a freaking National Enquirer, guys. You kidding me? Bat with human ear at 4. That's what I'm expecting now. Whenever you tune on to any mainstream news network, expect the bat with human ear. It's the breaking news of the day. Do you guys remember that story? I used to walk in the grocery store when I was a kid and I'd see the National Enquirer sitting right there, and then you'd see bat with human ear, and it's like this freaking weird picture on the corner. You're like, I gotta go check that out, page 6. We're living in the bat with human ear era, Propaganda left and right. That's all you ever see. That's all they'll ever let you see because you're the enemy. I'm the enemy. We are the enemy. I wrote the greatest song in history 2 weeks ago, and then this happens tonight. Those are the lyrics. It's on YouTube. You just heard it to start the show. Woo! Taken away in handcuffs. Got my mind blocked. Can't talk, no. Got me on shadow ban. Won't find me even if you want. You'll find me if you can. Fucking fire, man. That song should be everywhere right now. Where the hell is it? Why don't we have 1 million people sharing that song right now? Because we are the enemy. I wrote the song that spoke to this moment in history right now that we're in. How we are the enemy. If you're on the wrong side of it, you're canceled. You are the enemy. And the wrong side of it is anything other than the narrative. No matter what. If they say that the sky is blue and you say it's green, or vice versa, you're the enemy. You got to follow their rules. You got to stay in line. We're so close to that society of everybody wearing a freaking silver outfit, walking in a line, and you can't step out of it. If you do, you go into some sort of concentration camp. This is mental. You're about to allow some sleep sofa. He has no idea who he is, where he is, what day it is. You know, I've seen this. I'm not a 20-year-old. I've seen people who've lost their minds. I've seen people who've gone down the path of first what's like forgetfulness and then turns to much worse. And then all of a sudden they're like, huh, what, my aunt? Pooping in a triple diaper, can't even stay awake. Have you seen this? And then you'll see like, okay, I'll tell you what. You put me in a courtroom for 10 hours a day to sit there for some horse shit, and I gotta listen to some freaking crap. Somebody's trying to put me in jail for some horse crap. I'm falling asleep too. I said if I was Trump, I would have put a pillow out. You kidding me? You think I want to sit there and listen to that horse shit? I'd be like, just
wake me up when it's over. Are you kidding me, Melania? Let's go home. Don't go near the gold toilet.
right? That's what I'd be saying. I have no interest in listening to that horse shit. I'm asleep. Oh, Trump fell asleep. Of course he did. Listen to that horse shit. Biden falls asleep when they're like giving out ice cream.
Huh? What? My Aunt Judy told me. Joe, are you kidding me? Wake up. Don't be a sleep sofa.
He is the official sleep sofa at the White House. They had to get rid of the sleep sofa that was there so they could make room for him because he just freaking lays everywhere. Nappy McGee, they call him. Some people call him Nappy McGee. Anyway, guys, all I'm saying is this. It happened. What is the outcome now? What is the next step? Can he still run for president? I'm writing him in if I got to. You know what I mean? I got to say, look, this is just stand back because I don't know what happens with this. But if for some reason dude's not in it, I'm voting Kennedy. Well, if it's like Trump's in jail and he can't, because that's their goal, guys. Their goal is either put him in jail or kill him. That's what's going to happen for Donald Trump, unfortunately, because that's how freaking like drastic it is at this point. They've got no other moves. Their president is a freaking sleep sofa. That diaper is full right now. You know it. So what's the option? Trump in jail or Trump assassed. That's it. That's their only options left at this point. They tried to impeach him twice. The day after they didn't get him impeached the second time, we had CV-19. Nobody remembers that, but I was fucking live that day. I've been live every day since December 31st, 2018. So when they shut down the country, I was live that day. My manager came into my office, into my studio at Berkshire Hathaway, and she said, "What are you doing here?" And I said, "What do you mean? I'm about to start the show." She goes, "You got to go home. They shut down the country." I said, "What the? Are you kidding me? I got my studio here. I brought my green screen home. I've been live every day since at home." But I was live the day they said, "We can't get," he came out, he's like, "They tried to get me a second time, I'm winning big league." And he freaking kept going. And the next day, "Oh, we got this new thing called CV-19. Wear your masks. 1,747 masks. You gotta wear your mask. Get a double decker. Bugaboo. You get the bugaboo. And you're gonna, you're gonna get it, but like it won't be as bad." Well, first it was, "You won't get it. You got a bugaboo, then you won't get it. If you get it, you won't, you don't get it if you get it. But wear your 7,247 masks." Dr. Weasel Fauci approved. When Dr. Weasel Fauci came out, and he started hitting everybody with the propaganda, and you were there and I was there, and then others were like, "I gotta keep my job." And you know what you did? You friggin' did. The force was real. The force was so real. If I wasn't a guy who sells real estate for a living, I would have had to do the same thing. They would have forced me. But I said, "Go yourself, Fauci. I don't need to hear that horse shit. I'm a young man who's in good shape, and I'll take it head on." And so, get tube off 1,977 days ago. I freaking can't stand the news and the TV. It's a bunch of horse shit. You're not getting anything there. You're not getting anything except for negativity and division. No audio. Motherfucker! What in the freaking hell is wrong with my microphone? Is that working now? Yes. How long was that happening for? You know? And then we get an Elgato, like one on top of the other. You know, I'm tempted to stream the Donald Trump Show movie tonight. It's 4 hours and 20 minutes of ripping apart Sleep Sofa Joe. It's the funniest movie in history. Funniest movie in history. Just because it's, 25 seconds, that's not that bad. Because it's a face swap movie. And it's got all these different characters. And Sleep Sofa, yeah, that's where we came up with the name Sleep Sofa Joe. And President G-Hole, Nancy Pelosi, Dr. Weasel Fraudschi, Mark Zuckerdick, Mark Zuckerchooch as well. And who else did we come up with? I think those are the main ones, right? Dr. Weasel Fraudschi was a good one. But President G-Hole, I think that's probably my favorite. Anyway, guys, I think that we just need to understand that this is a reality that, you can't say you didn't expect something like this to happen. I actually was thinking to myself that there are still some decent people who are going to be like, this is freaking mental. Are you serious? This is what we're focused on, the year of what's coming up. There's something coming up in November. We're focused on this right now. But again, this is a very rare show. I don't talk politics here. But again, Trump was indicted, or he was found guilty today. Indicted. That was a while ago, but he was found guilty today. And now there's going to be a whole process, an appeal process, I imagine. It's probably going to go to the Supreme Court. But again, what happens if this sticks? What is the outcome? Does it mean that there's a new candidate that has to step in for him? Like I said, if it's down to not Trump and then a sleep sofa who can't speak and he shits in a triple diaper all day long, I'll vote for freaking Kennedy every day of the week. I'll vote for Jill Stein. I'll vote for anybody over the guy who's in office right now. This guy is the worst person in the history of time, and he doesn't know who he is anymore. This is scary. Scary. I watch him and I feel bad. Who else out there feels bad when you see him speak? I feel terrible. I'm like, oh my goodness, that's my president? Let me shuffle and fall up the stairs. Oh, you didn't fall down, you're falling up the stairs? How many times does that happen? How many times has this dude fallen? He falls off a bike. He can't speak. He's got a freaking teleprompter the size of the wall. Shuffling around the stage. Doesn't even know how to get off a stage. Can somebody please tell me where are the stairs? I got up. I came up here. I just don't remember how I got up here. Where am I again? My Aunt Judy told me to go on and talk to the people. Joe, are you kidding me? I'm here in jail. You're winning big league. You stole another one up there, you know. Guys, when Trump is the enemy, it's a very, very interesting time in history, I have to say. You get half the country absolutely sees this for what it is. You get the other half the country is like, yay, we got him. He's evil. He's guilty. And it's like, this is the silliest thing in history. The amount of propaganda you've received and I've received for the last 8 years, I think it's actually since 2012 when Obama allowed us to be propagandized again. It used to be a law you could not propagandize the American people. You could thank Barack Obama for changing that. Yeah, that was an executive order that he put in place where you can then propagandize the people. He did that right before, and I think it happened about a week or two after Donald J. Trump said he was going to run against him. He didn't run against him, but he said he was going to. And then all of a sudden, yeah, we're going to be able to propagandize the people again. And then 2016, 2020, 2024. What's next? Do we even get to 2030? I don't think so, because they've got this whole plan, the UN, you know. And guys, if their goal is to get to around 1 billion people on the planet, they're off to a great freaking start. How many people out there were forced or did it willingly, were out there like, yay, I feel great, but let me shoot myself up with something that's never gone into a human before. Oh, 9 months. Dr. Weasel Fraudschi says it's good. Put on your masks, though. And if you didn't do it, you're going to give it to the people that followed the regulations and the guidelines. They did it. They got the bugaboo, and you're the unbugabooed. And being an unbugabooed, you're the transmitters. This thing would be done if everybody just followed the rule of law from Dr. Weasel Fraudschi. And wear your masks. I have this awesome meme I made And it didn't get out there because nothing I've ever done has gotten out there in 1977 days. But the meme is freaking hilarious. It's that, when they were like, you're not a cow. You're not a horse. Come on, guys. What are you kidding me? You're not a horse. You're not a cow. And then right underneath, I put, nope, you're a guinea pig, and threw a freaking guinea pig right there. It's on my YouTube and Facebook and everywhere. And of course, that's more of a reason why you've never seen me. But when I put out that meme, it's on the back of one of my shirts too, the Dr. Weasel Fauci shirt. The Dr. Weasel Fauci shirt kind of went discontinued. I think I have to bring it back. It said on the top, a double booster a day keeps Dr. Weasel Fauci away. It was a great shirt. And then of course you had the, you're not a cow, you're not a horse, you're a guinea pig. That was in the back. And there was a picture of Weasel Fauci with 748 masks on his face. You gotta wear them, except when you go to the baseball game. You can take it off. Weasel Fauci approved.
Dr. Weasel Fauci, look, what do you think? Maybe we could spray some sort of like, I don't know, like hydrogen peroxide or something, and we'll see if we could kill it, winning big league.
Oh yeah, that sounds good. Oh, CNN, hold on. CNN is Dr. Weasel Fauci. Yeah, no, I was just with the president. He said he wants to put like peroxide into people to kill the CV-19. What are we thinking? Go live. Tell him that Weasel Fauci does not approve. It's anecdotal.
Guys, everything to Weasel Fauci was anecdotal. What about Hybler-Blectin?
That's anecdotal.
What about hydroxychloroquine?
That's anecdotal. We looked. It doesn't work. My aunt, my cousin, my aunt, my two sisters, we're all taking the hydroxychloroquine. But you guys can't, because it's anecdotal. But wear your masks. 7,467 masks.
Oh, it was bleach. Thank you.
Okay, maybe you could put the bleach in there. By the way, you're the dope. I want to hear your trumpet press-up shirt shit, just like your frickin' attitude.
Winning big league, right? Except when you are in court today. Guys, it happened. So anyway, is there an appeal process? I don't know. I really don't think it matters, guys. This is the intentional destruction of our republic and the ushering in of what they're calling democracy, which is really fascism, and we're moving very quickly to this socialism, that's going to turn into communism. And nobody remembers that Fidel Castro ran on socialism. Yeah, facts. He ran on socialism, guys. We're going to make Cuba socialist again. We'll make Cuba great again, whatever you guys want to say. And then as soon as he got power, he murdered all the, leaders of the different, I think he took over the army or had his own army. I don't even know the full story, but I do know that Castro ran on socialism. And so all these people out there are saying that socialism's good. There is no country that's ever succeeded under socialism. Capitalism's the best thing we got. And look, I think it's obviously hard. Life is hard. There's not a lot of high-paying jobs. So, I get it. You're talking about a very small group of people that own almost all the wealth in this world. And then there's all of us. We're here just trying to figure out how to get a slice and stay alive and support our families and give them an opportunity to have a better life than we've had. And what I fear is we're going to have a terrible world to pass along to our children. And when you have all these people that are having their loans canceled, that's great. That's great. What about next year? What about in 4 years when my son goes to college? So he's got to go into that predatory system and go and get the same loan that you're forgiving now. And my daughter in 6 years, my other daughter in 12 years, whatever. They're all going to go out there and go get the same predatory loans. But you wiped away all of the loans for all these people. That's great. Good job. No interest in fixing the system, right? Nobody cares. Nobody wants to even mention that. Oh, the loans! He got rid of all the loans! You got an education! Just because you're not using it, but you got the education. But now the next generation and the generations beyond, they all have the predatory system. They didn't want to fix the system because the whole point is, how do we get votes? It's not about how do we fix systems. How do we make the world a better place for our citizens? If it was, they'd fix the system. They no interest in fixing the system. They give hundreds of millions of dollars to protect other borders, but $0 to protect our border. executive orders everywhere to do anything and everything they want, but none to protect our border. They say, no, we need the Republicans to be on board for that. It's a bunch of horse shit. This is a chess game. They just don't want to close the border. Those people are all coming to vote. That's like the goal. Go and turn it on. Like they're all like, "Ma, I think everybody should have a path to citizenship so they can vote in November." Okay, 40 million people that don't follow our rule of law are here. You're good with that, right? I don't care. But look, this is an immigrant country. My grandfather came from Portugal. His name is at Ellis Island on the wall. But we know who he is. He showed up. His name's on the freaking wall. He didn't just come across and then all of a sudden there's 5 new people here. We don't know who the hell they are. What if he had bad intentions? No, he didn't. He came here. He said, look, this is who I am. I got 4 people with me. My wife, we're a family of 6. We're coming to make a better life for ourselves in America. Okay, sir, here's the process. My grandfather followed that process. So did your ancestors. And if they didn't, look, I'm not saying you could change anything about the past. All I'm saying is we have to worry about what we do going forward. We have to forget about the hatred and all this other bull crap. This is a world where if you don't divide, you're the enemy. Remember that. And if you want to find a way to come together, you are the enemy. They don't want that. They want as much destruction and division as possible before you get to the polls. They can't have us connecting. That's why it's baffling to me. Like if I go into a store, I go to Home Depot, I go anywhere, I get along with everybody because we don't know about those little details that we see on social media that we're sitting there and we're telephone texting tough guys. So, look what I can say. You know? We are the telephone tough guy generation in text form. You know? Oh, I'll kick your ass. You're an idiot. You support that guy? It's like, whatever. Remember when we were kids and our parents said, don't talk about religion, politics, or money, and all we get from our FYP, all we get from our feeds at all is religion, politics, and money. The only things that divide us, let's not talk about that, right? Religion, politics, and money. That's all we ever hear about. And it's a bunch of horseshit. Because just remember how many things we actually connect on. Everything else. We actually have nothing that divides us. We're divided by the things our parents told us not to talk about. How funny is that? Like, that just kills me. And now you could add in gender, you could add in a few other topics because they know what divides us. They know what gets at our core. If you stand outside of those 4 or 5 items, we get along. I could see you on the street. We could have a conversation. We could have a beer. We could have a burger together. We could talk about 9,000 other things. Have a great conversation. Have a great time together. It's when these 4 or 5 volatile subjects come into the picture. That's all of a sudden when we're in big trouble. And we're in big trouble because anywhere you go, when you scroll, all you're seeing is those 5 topics, those 5 divisive and destructive topics. And again, that is the goal. That's why when you think about it and when you really, really analyze it, we're the enemy. They don't tell us the truth because we're the enemy. They show us what they want because we're the enemy. We can't know what's really going on. And that's unfortunately the reality we're living in. And that's why when I write songs like... This song is fire. We are the enemy. Propaganda, left and right. It's all you ever see because you're the enemy. And remember that. This isn't like one side's better than the other. For the most part, almost every single politician is a piece of garbage crumb that is out for their own wallet and they don't give a crap about their constituents at all. Almost all of them. They could say whatever they want to the camera and to people in a room, but behind closed doors, someone's showing up with a check. And those people are saying, sure, I'll do that. Mr. G, yeah, he's so right. Well, that's the whole point, buddy. If I don't point out the insanity of it, then how the hell are you supposed to know about it? That's a very interesting thing. I love it when people speak like idiots. So I can't mention what divides us because then I'm mentioning what divides us. Stupid. Guys, J.E., I would never. I don't think anybody ever wants to run for president again, actually. I'm surprised Trump came back. Like, I would never. This is the silliest thing in the world. If you run for president, you're hated. Look what happened to JFK Jr., whatever his name's, RFK. They hate him. His own party hates him. Like, he's a Democrat, and they hate him. It's like, this is crazy. Why? Because they want to prop up a guy who can't speak, craps in a triple diaper, reads a teleprompter the size of the wall, and can't even read it well, shuffles around, can't find his way off the stage. Am I missing anything? Oh yeah, falls upstairs and off of freaking bikes. Oh, but Trump fell asleep at the trial. You kidding me? I said bring a freaking pillow. I wouldn't want to stay up for that shit either. You can't. I'd bring a sleep sofa, and the whole time I'd be laying there, I'd be like, sleep sofa, Joe, I'm gonna come and pop you in your stupid crap-filled diaper. I'm winning big league here at the courtroom. What? I'm sorry. No, I'm just taking a nap. Hearing this horse shit makes me want to sleep, right? And most people don't realize. Hopefully, I'm still getting audio here. I don't even know. Check. Yes, we do. Sleeping in the courtroom. That's like that would be my thing. I'd be like, guys, I hope you're coming tomorrow to check out the testimonies in court. I'll be the guy laying down on the sleep sofa. Yeah, sleep sofa Joe poops in a triple diaper. If you want to find out more, look under the cushions. Right? Donald J. Trump, he used to win big league. Now he's on a losing streak lately, I gotta say. Poor Trump, look, I've been winning big league for years, but not lately. No, I'm on a losing streak. I lost the 2020, I lost that. I can't even say the word. You can't say it anymore on YouTube. And then I lost the Letitia James, that horse crap trial. Yeah, no, didn't win big league there. Oh, goodness. RFK is a New World Order puppet, too. Is he, J.E.? I don't know. I don't even watch TV. I just got to say I like him much better than the guy who's sitting there at the Oval right now. And a lot of times he says things that it seems like they're kind of like both sides of the track could be okay with it. But we got a radical in office. He used to be a moderate, and he's completely radical now. And that's because he doesn't even know what he's doing anymore. He's not making any calls. There's absolutely nothing that is being done on his behest. And again, it's because I've seen this before. It's a terrible thing. I've seen people that slowly lose their minds, and they're giving him something in order to keep him But even when he's that freaking guy's it's a cringe show. Everything he says, I'm like, it's like dealing with a robot idiot, Oh, wow. When he talks now, it's like, he doesn't even open his mouth. You guys see that? He's like, look, I Aunt Judy told us to go hoop a triple diaper. He screams about everything now, too. He's like, what? I got a new diaper. My Aunt Judy told me. What? Yeah, to Trump. He's the same guy who was trying to shoot tear gas at the George Floyd murder. What does that say? Oh, fentanyl. He was high on fentanyl. Let's not talk about that. Guys, enough fentanyl in the system to kill a horse. Not saying that what happened between that piece of garbage police officer and him wasn't a bad thing at all, because it was. But that wasn't the cause. In fact, I'm 999% sure if he just got in the back of the car and didn't resist, and he went peacefully, and he wound himself up at like the county courthouse or the jail, whatever, they would have found him in that cell a couple hours later, gone. Because he took all the shit and he freaking swallowed it because he saw the cops coming up to his car. He's a fifth-time offender. Held a gun to a pregnant lady's belly. I don't know if you knew that story, but yeah, that's the hero right there. I loved my favorite photo. My favorite photo during that time was the one with Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, and they both had their hands on the shoulder of George Floyd. Like, buddy, we did it, but like, you really did it, You were a civil rights icon. We were just like, whatever, Like me, Martin Luther King, I'm this big, and then we got Malcolm, he's this big, and then George Floyd's out there like this. And they're like, you did it, George. You did it. How's that fentanyl, by the way? Oh, goodness. So, guys, that's what's going on in the world today, right? And like I said, my condolences have always gone out to that guy. Like, anybody who's going to kill themselves or take a tremendous amount of drugs in order to hide from the police. I still, I've got no qualms with anybody in this world. What I don't like is an entire agenda and an entire movement being built around a guy who had a gun to a pregnant lady's belly and, OD'd on fentanyl, essentially, based on the drug report afterwards, the toxicology. But the narrative is strong, my friends, and the mainstream fake news, National Enquirer media, they hit you and they hit you and they hit you until you just, all you think and believe is the lie. And I have to say something, so hopefully you understand this, but no matter how much someone lies to you, it doesn't make it true. Someone can lie to you every single day for the rest of their life. It never will make it true. You have to search your soul and you have to be able to step away in order to understand the truth. But there are lies you're told on a daily, and some of them we're still questioning now. I mean, you see this movement now on TikTok and all these other platforms where people are fighting over whether the world is round or it's flat. And I'm now caught up in it. I'm looking at it, I'm like, well, I could put a deck of cards up and leave it there for 10 years and come back, and that thing's not moving. And based on the math and what they say, us having to slow down and move around in order to go around the sun and the moon and everything's slowing down and moving, speeding up, and then it's 1,000 miles here and 66,000, everything's around 666. I'm like, and you start thinking about, I got a 1775 Bible here, and in there we read the first chapter of Genesis, and it talks about the heavens above and the waters above the firmament. There's waters above, waters below. You could look through a telescope and you could take yourself and stare at one of these stars in the distance that they say is hundreds of billions of trillions of miles away. And you could zoom in on it and kind of step back a touch, and it looks like it's underwater. You see like this rippling going on. You're like, that's whatever that is, it's in water, and it's clearly energy. We're clearly looking at energy. It's not a solid mass. It's energy in the sky somewhere, and it looks like it's underwater. I had a weird kind of cool thought where I was like, how many people have ever lived in the history of time? And like, what if, because we are energy, all of us, energy doesn't die, if like we do have all these other options afterwards, but one of the things that absolutely happens after we live this life here is a piece of us, some of our essence appears in the sky for the rest of the world to see for history. And when they look up and they see Orion's belt, that was representing some people that were here once before. And all over this sky of ours in the universe are just reflections of the souls that have spent time here on this planet. And I just thought it was kind of a cool idea. They say there's trillions of stars. I'm like, well, in the history of time, how many people have there been? 7 billion people here now. And we're talking about now. It's like, if we go back to the beginning all the way to now, how many people have been and then weren't? J.E. says, I firmly believe they're lying to us about space. I got to tell you, I know for a fact we didn't go to the moon. I've looked at that footage. It's a bunch of horse crap. I saw those 3 astronauts sitting there after they came back from the moon, and they looked embarrassed. They looked embarrassed to be there. They were like, those aren't 3 people that stood on the moon. Those are 3 people that pretended they stood on the moon. And then they had to lie to the public. And the worst thing about it is they all had, or I don't know if all of them did, but Armstrong had integrity. And for him to have to lie about that was tough for him. And you could see it in his freaking face. Aldrin, how many times did Aldrin say we didn't go? We didn't even go. You saw, theater on Conan O'Brien. And then you saw him with that little girl. He says, well, that's my question, because we didn't go. And if we want to figure out like how to go in the future, we have to understand, well, why didn't we go? Why did we stop? Because you can't. You can't get past the Van Allen belts. At this point, it's not that bad. You going up there in aluminum foil again, like you did in the 60s? There's a great video of these idiots in space, and like they go out on the top to do a spacewalk, and it's freaking cardboard. It's flopping. It's a cardboard floppy. You can see it's like this. And it's like, okay. Sorry. So, the problem is the technology, the film technology, CGI didn't exist back then. So like they were doing the best they could in order to fool people. And it was the Cold War. You have to remember, this was the entire goal of the flights to the moon was to try to prove superiority over Russia. And so by getting to the moon first, we showed that superiority. It gave us the edge, so to speak, in the 60s going into the 70s to be the superpower in the world. And if nobody remembers this, but right before we did it, Russia claims they went to the moon like a few years before. If you look at the footage of that, that one will make you laugh even harder. They got this little remote control car and they're like, look, this is the rover on the moon. It is so bad. It's like so much worse than our footage and our, attempt at trying to fool people. But like I said, I don't know if everything is fake, but I do think it is. 1958, Britannica says that we have a dome. 1958, basically the same year they say no one could go to Antarctica. The one thing that every planet on Earth or every nation on Earth agrees to is that, hey guys, no one can go to Antarctica. No one could claim Antarctica. And let's just have a treaty where no one's allowed there. All right, Russia, you're cool with that. China, Germany, France, you guys are all good with that? Yeah, let's do that. Nobody's allowed there. Why are they okay with that? They're not okay with anything. These people never agree on anything. But they agree on no one could go to Antarctica. But we don't want to know why, right? Oh, it's for research purposes. You had Admiral Byrd who flew past the pole and said there's a body of land bigger than North America. The South Pole. Beyond the South Pole. Beyond the pole, there is a piece of land that is as big as North America. Lakes. The water was like 37 degrees. It was like 60 degrees, 55 degrees out. It's not like what you'd expect. And of course, this is 70 years ago he said this, 80 years ago. And people have been talking about it since. Anybody who tries to go down to Antarctica, they get turned back by the Coast Guard or by, Air Force. This is like a concerted effort to keep anybody and everybody away from the mass of Antarctica. And if that happened in 58, and then all of a sudden, within a year, they create this new thing called NASA, they're like, hey guys, let's stop exploring this. We found it all here. There's nothing left here.
Let's look up there. Let's go to the moon. It's in Mars next.
And everything's about looking up and away from the surface of this earth. Away from discovering our own land. Extraterrestrial. They start talking about it like it's out there. Extraterrestrial means extra land. Well, there's extra land. It's here. It's not up there. We can't get there. Bill Nye said we're a closed system. No one could ever leave Earth. We're a closed system. Bill Nye, yeah, I know he's the science guy. He's a freaking fraud, but he got that right. Just ask Don Pettit, astronaut extraordinaire. Well, I'd love to go to the moon, but we destroyed that technology, and it would be a painful process to recreate. Oh, really, Don Pettit? It's a painful process for you to recreate the thing you created the first time 70 years ago when you guys had shit for equipment and technology, but now it's too hard to recreate it? Don Pettit? Hey, Don, what would happen if there was a crack in the glass here when you're in outer space? Well, then there would be a crack in the glass. Oh, really, Don? How would you fix that? Well, what we'd probably do is that we would seal off this corridor and then I'm not sure, we would have to follow the regulations. Friggin' idiots. Is that what it takes to be an astronaut? You have to talk like a moron and say stupid things and say that you can't create the technology anymore. It is a painful process to recreate it again. And how many different astronauts have said at this point that we have to figure out the challenges of the Van Allen belt and getting through a vacuum of space in order to get to the moon and to Mars and other places. Wait, I thought you said you've been to the moon though, and now you don't know how to get to the moon? Oh, okay. Don Pettit. I want to shoot Don Pettit to the friggin' moon. With just like all we need to give him is a camera and a microphone for him to just, I'm Don Pettit, A freaking mental case, right? He's on his way to the moon. He shoots right past it. They're just like, Don, you're supposed to stop at the moon. Oh, goodness. Does anybody know how it works? Because this is the thing I'm trying to comprehend. If there is a way to pierce the atmosphere into space, firmament, and pierce out of our atmosphere and into space, but it's a vacuum out there, right? 0 point. You're out there, right? How do you then reignite said rockets to boost to the moon or change trajectories, slow down? How do you do any of that? Anybody know how that works? You know? Because I'm pretty sure you just can't I'm going to bank right here to the moon, you know? There's no thrust. You're just floating. Now, my son said, well, you go at such a fast speed that when you start at this space, you just coast. I'm like, oh, really? 235,000 miles they're coasting? Just coasting, huh? 1,000, let's even call it 500 miles an hour. Let's call it 1,000 miles an hour, right? So 235 hours later, you should be at the moon, right? So it's roughly 10 days. How long does it take, do they say that it take to get to the moon? And that's at 1,000 miles an hour. I'm not sure what the speed is projected once you pierce the firmament. And again, now you're going through water as well. No, I'm just kidding. We don't know. We really don't know anything. But the ether is a real thing. They've decided to change the name of that into all these other weird things over the years. But you do have to get through the ether. And it's a vibrational field, I believe. And I don't know. Just a lot of weird stuff going on in the world, guys. I would say, though, at the end of the day, we're lucky to be here. We're lucky to be alive right now in this crazy time, which could be very, very much like the end of it all. Like, it's a weird thing, but I remember as a kid, a few times I've had this feeling. I'm like, what if we're the last generation? Like, what if we are the end of it? All this stuff has come before us, and we're here now at the very end when it's all going to be destroyed by some freaking maniac. I mean, this is the only time in all of history where there's more nukes pointed all over the world that could destroy this entire planet, just like that. And if you look back, to me, based on all these things I'm seeing, these different stories about previous civilizations, we could be the 4th or 5th, 10th, 50th, 1,000th, civilization that's thrived and then destroyed themselves and then starts all over again. You think about what happened with the flood. If there was a flood, which almost all the stories from all over the world talk about a flood, you had the driest period, right, which is about 10,000 years ago, something like that. Then you had the flood, which, if you think about this, you have all the melt from the glaciers from the ice age, which could lead to a flood. And almost everybody dies in this flood, and you rebuild. But all that technology is gone. What would happen if tomorrow there was a flood, there was an earthquake, there was a nuclear war, and all of a sudden we're down to just very few people on this earth? We would rebuild, and the people that are here would talk about stories, but those would then kind of just disappear as new generations come along and you start figuring out how to survive. You forget about the history when you're trying to survive and not die from, scurvy or whatever the hell is going on, because you're learning it all over again. Us understanding what scurvy was and having vitamin C. I'm sure there was a time before that where people knew, hey, you just eat some vitamin C or eat an orange, you're good, or some lemons. But then we lost that technology only to learn it again when we're traveling across the ocean and sailors are dying left and right. So we relive all these different experiences that civilizations have already lived and then lost because we're just like the worst. J.E., I'm ready for the flood. Earth needs a reset. This is the thing. Something massive's happening, and it's scary. The scarier thought to me has always been, okay, flood would be the scariest, right? If all of a sudden we're all underwater, that would probably be the scariest. But the other scariest thing to me is like the all-out martial law / destruction of society, where now you're in your house, and whatever you have, that's it. And you're like, I can't even go to the store because if I go outside, someone may shoot me or murder me in order to take whatever I have in my wallet because they got nothing. And there's nothing that you could do because all these people who protect us on a daily basis are at home protecting their families. And it's just you're your family against the world. And that to me is one of the biggest fears. Because we're like, it seems to me like we're a thread from that. And that's why I see all these people that are getting kind of armed and ready for the worst. And in a way, I'm like, why am I not? Why am I not strapped and have like a 12 gauge and like a couple other things ready to roll if things get bad? Because when they do, you got to be able to protect your family. Someone's coming in your house to take your freaking tomato soup, coming to take your beans or whatever else you have in the house. It gets that bad and it gets there quick. They had a calculation that if there was an EMP, if China decided to fuck us over, and all of a sudden they shot an EMP from space at us, and now there's nothing here, no electricity, that 90% of the country would be dead within like a couple months or like 9 months, something like that. 90% of the country. You got 365 million people here. That's just crazy. Talking about like 300 million people gone within a year. And so that's the fear that I really have. And this is why when you see our republic, it's not a democracy, when you see our republic being threatened like this, where you could have just a group of people that I don't even think they were fairly chosen. I mean, how do you know any of these people don't have a complete bias against this man? Everybody knows who the former president is. I don't know how you could even have a jury, a fair jury in that case. How? You can't be like, there's not a bias there. Every single person on that bench in the jury knows who the president is. One of the benefits of going into court and you're on trial and you've got a jury is these people don't know who the hell you are. So you got this clean slate to work off of. There's a case that's being built against you, and then these people get to hear it without any preconceived notions at all. There's not one person that was sitting there that says,
oh, who's this guy? I don't know who that guy is with the cool hairdo.
you know?
Hi, my name is Donald J. Trump. I'm winning big league.
And you know in that state, most people hate that guy. Right? You're talking about New York. You know, these people aren't like, I'm voting Trump. It's the opposite. Jay said that EMPs are fake. We lose power in the reversal. A bunch of sheeple will freak out thinking we are at war when the power goes out. Yeah, well, when the power goes out, that's the other scary thing. No communication. Like, how the hell are we going to find out anything? There is nothing. And it's not like you could just turn on a receiver. I know people are like, oh, go and get these other backups. Like, everything seizes with an EMP. If it's fake, that's another thing. But I've always heard it with an EMP, everything seizes. Every engine, every component, capacitors, everything. And now all of a sudden, it's like a brick. And you're back to square one again, starting over, trying to figure out what electricity is, and energy, and how do you transfer energy into something that you could actually use. And how long did it take us to figure that out? You know, but like a cotton gin, diesel engines and stuff like that. That was thousands of years. It starts with them creating a wheel first. Like, look, I made a wheel. So scary, scary stuff going on right now, guys. What I would say is we need to stick together. This is the one time in history where they want us apart, they want us divided, and they want us to hear their messages. I think it's very important that we continue to broadcast our own, and we continue to connect, and we continue to have faith, but also to be very vocal about our feelings, just to stand up for ourselves, because there may be a time very soon where you can't. Pretty much there now, where if you speak, they just keep you from the world, they'll cancel you, they'll shut you down, especially when you're on the right side of it. So try your best to get the messages out of those who are out there speaking on the behalf of the unspoken for those who are being ridiculed, persecuted, being diminished in this time in history, for holding common sense true. You know? Right now it's a crime if you have anything to say about certain groups of people, but you could go out and burn the American flag. That's fine. It used to be a crime to do that. Not anymore. Now they just don't even give a crap anymore. If you burn a different flag, you're going to jail. You're going to be prosecuted, probably 20 years in jail, 10 years in jail, something like that. But if you burn the American flag, whatever. I'll tell you, my uncle passed away last month, And when I went to the funeral, he was in the Army. He was in Vietnam. He served 2 terms there, and deployed there twice. And I think the village that he was working in was completely like demolished a month after he came back. It's a crazy story. And he came home, didn't hear much about it. I know he had some issues because of the Agent Orange health issues afterwards. But I do know when I was there, I saw the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. And I filmed it. And I don't think I'll ever release it because it's not right. But I did send it to my cousin because it was her father's, and she was there, but they were all very emotional. And I wanted to film this scene because it looked so beautiful to me. But the military was there, and they fold the flag in front of the entire funeral procession from the family, all the guests, on top of the casket. They lay it out over, and then the 2 officers, I guess, I'm not sure who they were exactly, but they start to fold this. And it's not just like the amount of time and care they put into folding that flag for the last time it will ever be folded before handing it over to my aunt. It was artistic, it was beautiful, but what I could see was the pride in the eyes of these soldiers. And I'm like, where did that go? How did we lose that as a country, where people have no respect for our flag and for our country anymore? It's something that I have a hard time with. And when I saw that, I just had gratitude in that moment that some people haven't lost it. But I also had just a flash of hope that came across me where I'm like, this isn't that far away. We can get back to this, you know? And it's a matter of showing people that we are all connected, we are all one. There's no such thing as you and me, it's we. And the sooner we realize that, the sooner we can get back to enjoying this existence and, I would say, shutting off all of their lies and all of their division. It's a negativity you could feel. And so do your best to shut it off whenever you can. Join us on a show like this, you know? DPFX, how are you, my friend? Subversion via our own government, mainly the alphabet. Oh, yeah. Yeah, those are those alphabets, those couple of alphabet agencies there, those are the same ones who put me in the hole who knows how long ago on all the platforms. I gotta tell you, I thought earlier I got a retweet from Elon Musk. I got so excited. He either erased it or it wasn't from him. But I put up the We Are the Enemy song, and I thought it said Elon Musk retweeted, but then I didn't seem to be looking at it. I'm like, that's just weird. So I don't think he did, but it would have been awesome if he did. Had a few people that liked it, but I gotta tell you, I can't get anybody to see anything on X. It's very tough to get anybody to see anything on any of these platforms, unless you're speaking the words they want. Thank you, Leisure. Thank you guys for being here. I appreciate you. I hope to see you tomorrow. Totally different show. Innocent people testify. I guess so. Yeah, I mean, I didn't even follow the trial, to be honest. I don't watch the news. I saw the verdict today, and I do think that the trial itself is totally mental. And the fact that this is the focus, 6 months, 5 months before a huge day, it's like, if you ever wanted to call something interference, this is it. Between the first one with James and then this one with Bragg, what's next? Like I said, I think this is like a domino effect. They're all going to come back guilty, not because of guilt, but because they need it to. This is their only shot to stay in power. Last time round, it was to suppress the true story of Hunter B., the crackhead, and all of his nefarious activity with Russian mayors' wives and China and having $1 billion in assets from China and from Ukraine. And the one thing I would ask to anybody, me, Giglio, or anybody else out there is, if you were not corrupt, wouldn't you be doing business with your allies and not your enemies? Got you on that one, huh? Why was Hunter B only doing business with his enemies, with our enemies? He wasn't doing business with England. He wasn't doing business with Canada. He wasn't doing business with France. He was doing business with Ukraine, Russia, and China.
But no corruption, right?
If you could stare at yourself in the mirror with a straight face and say that Hunter B was working with Russia, China, and Ukraine, and not one ally, but there wasn't any corruption there, I don't know how you could lie to yourself like that. I just don't understand it, you know? We all know Ukraine is the most corrupt country there is. Just because you call it a democracy now doesn't make it a democracy. You've got thugs running that country, and it was that before we installed the government that's there, and Sleep Sofa Joe did a little prid quo Joe, we call it. But more importantly, I always come back to that. Why was Hunter B working with only our enemies? Hey, Russia. President G-hole. Hunter B. Yeah. Look, I wanted to see if I can get some equities from you guys, some assets, some properties, securities. I was thinking a cool bill. You give me $1 billion, I'll put in a good word with the big guy. Yeah, no, the big guy is my dad. Look, I'm sitting here with my father right now, you know, and we expect results. Yeah, no, G-hole, I got to get going. Look, give me the $1 billion, you know, in securities. I'll take it from there, you know. Do you have a contact over in Russia? Maybe I know you're close to Vladimir Putin. Can you get me maybe the mayor of Moscow? I was just thinking maybe I could talk to her about getting like $3 mil. She'll give me $3 mil, and then I'm good. Yeah. Oh, one more. Sorry. Ukraine. You think you could kind of put in a good word at Burisma? I was thinking about seeing if they have any gigs coming up, you know? I need more crack. Yeah, no, thanks, G-hole. I appreciate it. Yeah, that's right. I'll put in a good word to the big guy. Yeah, crackhead out. Right? Russia, China, Ukraine. Hello? Oh. I'm sorry, I have a hard time understanding you. You're English, you know. I don't understand when you start going proper English on me. Can you go Cockney? Ah, yeah, that's better. Oh no, I'm sorry, I'm not doing any business with our allies. Yeah, there's no money to be made with our allies. I'm only dealing with our enemies. Yeah, can you pass it along to France? Let Spain know, like, we're not working with any allies, only enemies here, is the Biden family. Yeah, that's right. Sorry, no, I got a call right now. Russian mayor, she's getting $3 million. She's gonna get it to me. Yeah, no, I'm going. All right, yeah, thanks. Hold on. No, she's on speaker. Hold on. Hello? Yeah, no, this is Hunter B, the crackhead. Yeah. No, it's good to get you on the line. Did President G-hole tell you that I needed, you know, that bribe? Yeah, $3 million should do. Yeah, no, I'll put in a good word for the big guy. You know, that you're there in Moscow, you're thinking about getting out, and you needed an eye from the American side. Sleep Sofa Joe. Yeah. Now, that name hasn't come out yet. Some people call him Pedo Pete. Yeah, no, that's fine. $3 million. Just send it over in, like, crypto or something, you know? Or you could do BB Poo Poo. That's an inside joke. Yeah. All right, thanks. No, I'm sorry. Ukraine's on the other line. Give me a second. Hello? Yeah, no, this is Cracky McGee. Oh, Zelensky, what's going on? Yeah, did anybody ever tell you look like the guy who banged Stifler's mom in American Pie? Yeah. Yeah, we did that in episode 19 of the Donald Trump show. You should check it out. Ripped you apart, really. Yeah, anyway, no, look, I was curious to make sure, I just want to make sure the back channels are set up so you could shift the money from Ukraine back to me at the Biden, you know, house. And again, good word goes to the big guy for all of the stuff you're planning. Yeah, Burisma, that's a good one. I'm good with that, yeah. $83,000 a month? Yeah, no, that's good, $83,000 a month, I'll do it. No, I don't have any experience at all, you know, per se, you know, but I am a crackhead, you know.
And I was dishonorably discharged from the Army for cracking it out as well. You know, just a little, those are a couple of benefits, a couple of reasons why you're gonna want me on the squad. You know? Burisma, yeah, 83.5. No, that's cool. You wanna bump it up 5? I'm good with that. Another 500, you know, a month. 83,500 a month. I'll expect that in the Biden account. And do I have to do anything? Oh yeah, no, I can do that. I'll get you a meeting with the big guy, you know, anytime you want. Yeah, no, that's cool. I gotta go. There's a bunch of crack over there. I'm gonna go and do it. Yeah, no, thanks, Zelensky. Look, I think you're doing a great job there. You know, my dad talks about it all the time. You know, that deal we did, the one I did with China to get the $1 billion in securities. And then right before I was on the phone with you, I spoke to the Russian mayor's wife. And she's giving me $3 million. Yeah, that's a lot of crack I'll be buying. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Zelensky, no, I get it. I gotta go too. Yeah, my dad's coming over in a little while. Yeah, no, I'll put in a good word. The big guy, Zelensky, right? Sometimes you pretend to call China, Russia, and Ukraine in one phone call. Call waiting. Oh, sorry. Hello? Yeah, this is Cracky McGee. Oh, President G-hole. Good to get you back on the line. Let me ask you a question. Did you wipe your G-hole? Right? You know, sometimes when you're at it, and Hunter B shows up with a freaking pipe full of crack, you know, he's just ready to go. He's just ready to start the party. Oh, DP's hilarious. DP said, I'd rather be a right-wing nut job than to be a left-wing Marxist with no nuts and a job. And no job, you're hilarious. DP, you're hilarious. I would rather be a world where everyone could get along regardless of their differences. And you could call someone crazy if they say they like a certain person you don't like. But you just get back to hanging out afterwards, you know what I mean? No, I'm a real estate agent, and this show though is for free. I do this show for free, yes, but this isn't anything that I do for a living. No, I not only sell real estate, but I also invented and patented the only drum in the world for guitar players. It's called the Beat Seat. It's the only drum for sensory that you can play with your full body. So if you know anybody with autism, they should know about that. Yeah, don't forget they hate comedy is true. Unfortunately, satire got this show canceled many, many years ago. I didn't realize that doing a face swap parody movie would get this show kind of considered harmful, but that's what happened. YouTube is nuts. Almost all the platforms are nuts. If you say anything that's against the things they want you to believe, they just label it as harmful, you know? Liking a specific candidate doesn't make someone harmful. Saying things that someone believes that and they're passionate about doesn't make someone harmful. What makes someone harmful is someone who wants to harm someone, physically or mentally. But speaking words and saying how you feel about things, there's no harm there. You have a finger for a reason. You could use it and scroll at any time. That's the reality. The thing is, they want to take your ability to scroll away from you. They want you to just open up your screen and see the things they want. So you stay there as long as possible. That's the goal. It's to get you to not use your finger and scroll. Therefore, anything that's different than their message, they just won't put in front of you. That's why I love living in a world where I get to see it all, and then I can say what I don't like I used to with my remote control. I go up to the screen and I'm watching all these different channels. I'm scrolling through till I find one I like. It's a false representation because you believe that you're scrolling to find new ideas and new perspective, new messaging, but you're not. You're seeing exactly what they want you to see. And it's all negative and divisive. That's the worst part of it. I had someone today who said, how's the music and comedy as far as like just stories or whatever, but how is the social media response to stuff like that? Because someone was talking about a book that went viral by going on TikTok. I said, I think a book maybe has a good chance of doing some sort of cool hook to get people to then see what that book is about, then go buy the book. What the issue we have with music today, issue we have with comedy today, is people have the shortest attention span in history. And if you have a comedic bit that builds to get to the comedy, and it takes more than 2 seconds, no one wants to watch it. They just scroll. And this goes back to the scrolling thing. People scroll before they wait for a bit to develop. People scroll before they hear what the song is. I don't know that guy, and they just scroll. So I don't like these platforms for originality, to be honest. I post a song on TikTok, nobody fucking watches it. They go and listen for 2 seconds and scroll. I'm like, there's a sick song here that was created live in the moment. Every word, every note was created live on this show and then released for these people to watch for the first time, but they're watching the purest moment in music right there. And instead of getting to that and hearing the song, they'll get one note in and scroll. I don't know this guy, and they scroll. So if there's one thing I would change about social media platforms is if there's an original piece of music, for example, you can't scroll for 10 seconds until you hear what's fucking there. Instead of being like, I don't know this guy, because there's a shredding piece of guitar coming at you in 15 seconds, but you don't even get to it. And that's the reality, is people are so transfixed on all this negativity, all this division, and all these topics that keep blaring at you from side to side. If you see an original piece of music, or if you see something that's different than that, you're just immediately scrolling to get back to that shit that they're feeding you. And it just seems like that to me. But the music is there if you ever want to listen to it. We write a song every night usually. I didn't do anything tonight though. We got into it. Rant-a-roo tonight. Ranting. Sometimes you gotta rant like a mofo. Which I don't mind ranting every once in a while, to be honest. Because you gotta get it all out. You gotta let it all out. Let me say goodnight to you, and thank you guys for being here. Officially well past the 1 hour mark. Oh, well past. Chris Donaldson, DPFX, so good to see you. Leisure number 7, S. Coop in the house, Trish Killian, Virginia. Let me see who's with me over here on the talk. Bobby Joe, King Kate, how you doing? Robert Foster, user 854. Ernesta Torres, so good to see you. And Angela Chacon, Everhart, so awesome to have you guys here. Thank you for kicking it with me tonight. Hope you can subscribe over to the YouTube channel and help us spread the word. This is officially 1,977 days in a row, the longest running streak, I think, to ever exist. No one's ever gone long form this many days in a row, I don't think. But we're just 23 days away from 2,000 days in a row, which is when I do believe this streak will come to an end. It's been a real freaking honor to show up every day, to hopefully provide a little bit of hope for those who have found this show, that there is one guy who keeps showing up even though the world is pretty much crap at this point. But we live in the moment. We create a ton of music, 209 songs on iTunes and Spotify. There's 10 feature films on my YouTube channel, 4,500 pieces of content, and live every single day of the year. So I hope to see you tomorrow. I intend to be live tomorrow morning for Friday morning comedy news at 9 a.m. and then again for cover song night at about 10:30 tomorrow night. So, until then, BDP, good to see you, my friend. Kill it and grill it. Oh, goodness. Hope to see you guys tomorrow. Till tomorrow. Share that The Enemy song, guys. I don't think there's a better song out there to speak to this time we're living in today. Propaganda left and right. It's all you'll ever see because you're the enemy. Remember, that's the line, one of the lines. There's a lot of good ones in that song.